Super creepy fun time hour, fun time hour, fun time hour, super creepy fun time hour. Let's start the show.
That's right, kids. It's time for super creepy fun time. So put on your masks and turn up the volume. Turn on the super creepy fun time, kids. It's time. It's time for the show.
This is Super Creepy Fun Time Hour. Greetings. I'm one of your creepy hosts, Casey Canton, along with Jenius McGee, and we're here to get weird again. Genius, how you been?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, and I am ready to get weird.
It's been too long, my friend.
It has been. It has been.
Of course, as always here in the Snuff Dungeon at Downright Creepy, we have our producer behind the glass who likes to keep us in check, make sure things run smooth, Killbot. Genius and I will be talking about this in a second, but what have you been watching during our favorite time of year?
I'm doing great, thank you for asking. Jerk. I have been watching my fair share of found footage films lately. The last film I watched was Host on Shudder. I learned what not to do during our seance today.
Oh, yeah, that movie was filmed entirely in quarantine on Shudder, which is a very, very cool feat in itself. But did you learn anything that might be able to help us out with today's Ouija experience, Killbot?
Well, rule number one, and really the only rule you need to know. Do not fuck with ghosts. The end.
Well, that really puts a damper on what we're about to do, but
right.
You're 100% right. I try not to fuck with ghosts.
I mean, that's kind of the number one rule with Ouijas is it's fuck with ghosts, but then don't fuck it up.
Yeah, don't fuck up.
So
ghosts will fuck with you.
I mean, that's a great reminder, if nothing else, Killbot. I appreciate you saying that, but it does kind of put a damper on things.
Well,
have you ever used a Ouija board, though? Have you ever used a Ouija board, Killbot?
I am incapable of using the Ouija board because I have no hands, you twat. However, I oftentimes transmit EVPs even when I am not trying. They just come across my frequencies. So in some ways I guess I am a robot medium.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. I tell you what, you let us know during the episode if you come across any EVPs of any kind during the show today. Feel free to break in because that's what EVPs do.
That's what we do. We want to know if the new software is working for you.
And especially when we're using the Ouija boards, especially then, because it could happen at any time. But let us know. Okay, he's nodding yes with approval behind the glass.
We're giving the metallic thumbs up.
Yeah, he's saying keep it moving along.
It's funny when he does that. Let's move. You can actually hear the gear.
Well, before we move on to today's topic, which is going to be exploring spirits, Ouija boards, and paranormal, I can't wait to see what happens with that. We should probably talk about some bizarre things in a segment we like to call
So Creepy.
And on today's little news segment, it's a little different than normal. We're actually going to talk about the world's largest Ouija board. Have you heard about it or seen it?
I've seen it. It's huge. There's a picture on going viral of like this happy family in the middle of one of those little like circles that you use, and they're like yay, we're summoning Satan on a giant scale.
It's a fall family planchette photo. Yeah, it's crazy.
The family that summons together.
So it was actually this takes place in Salem.
Everything good takes place in Salem.
I know. Have you ever been?
Always wanted to. Bucket list.
Same here.
Oh, and Halloween too. Yeah. It's like
they have the parades and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not this year, but dude, just walking in that town. The photos I've seen is like, I want to live there.
Yeah, it looks like it's fucking Halloween town.
Yeah, and it's gothic, but not in a Victorian sense. It's just old as shit.
Yeah.
And everything looks incredible.
And they're all about their spooky history. They're embracing it.
Absolutely.
Like Amityville could probably be like, nah, never mind. We don't want to know about that.
Yeah.
But they're Salem's like, yeah, fuck yeah, we burned a shitload of witches.
I
We
know.
got all sorts of crazy witch stories going on. Come on down.
Come to our museum, get a keychain.
Yeah. Bring the kids. Bring your souls. You know, and it's just like...
Take a picture on our planchette.
Exactly. And don't forget to try our new burning pit for the kiddies. And like, you can take a picture of the stake.
It's just like
paper mache flames in the air like, ah!
It's so weird. It feels like a Salem amusement park that would be ripped out of the Simpsons episode.
Witchapalooza or something called like that. Yeah.
So yeah, this thing is in Salem, which is incredible, and like I said, on our bucket list, and it holds a Guinness Book World Record. It's 72 by 44 feet.
That's a fucking parking lot.
It's a parking lot.
That is enormous. That is enormous, dude. That family that's in that little the little thing could
planchette,
actually live there if there was a house. It's that
Right.
big.
It's a tiny house if you put walls up around it.
Right. Ouija house.
The previous Guinness Book World Record, which I didn't know existed for a Ouija board, was 44 feet by 29 feet, and it's on the roof of a hotel, which the hotel's in central Pennsylvania. So it's 500 miles away from Salem. So this new one that's 72 by 44 just doubles.
Almost twice, yeah.
It's crazy. And like you said, go online, look at the drone shots. Because not only is it huge and kind of cool, it looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's really
meticulously done.
But here's my question on the previous 44 roof one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would stay in a hotel that is an actual Ouija board. You know what I'm saying? It's like
that's on the roof,
asking for bad things.
Well, yeah, that's the question I had when I first saw this. Is one, I didn't know anything like this existed, and at this point, we should always just expect something that we.
And do they tell people? Like, if I go to like a Hilton and it's like, and don't forget, in our basement has a ritual sacrifice altar. Like, do you say that?
Yeah. Well, this guy touted it as the one that had it previously that was on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
He touted it and was like, it's kind of like a pride. It's almost like an attraction. To him. So when he heard about this competing one, which is like dueling banjos of Ouija boards, I think it kind of, it might have legitimately pissed him off, but it was definitely became a competition, and there's no way you're going to top that.
No.
Like, your roof is as big as it's going to be. But that brings up the question, though, about these are massive things that are essentially portals to the paranormal and spirits. I have a Ouija in front of me from Parker Brothers, that we'll use a little bit later, but these are small things that everyone uses to try and. What kind of shit can you put, like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man type spirits are coming out of that
like
thing?
the ghost of Godzilla? It's like, and then are you trying to like? Now, when you use this Ouija board, do you only contact one person, but it's like a megaphone, or do you contact? I'm here to talk to everybody from Jonestown, or like
and Salem,
right? And Salem. And seriously, okay, if any movies have taught us anything, if the regular Ouija board can open up a small door to the paranormal, that's like opening up Heathrow Airport to the undead.
Or the planet.
Yeah.
Like,
oh shit, we're going to be Ghost World. John Page, if
only at this point. I think, I don't know, I just think it begs a lot of questions of like, Jeff Goldblum, like,
we can, but does that mean we should?
Yeah, no one thought if we should.
Yeah,
I feel like that's very Goldblum question that needed to be asked that no one did.
Afterlife finds a way.
They created basically Jurassic Park,
Jurassic
of Spirit
Ghost
Worlds.
Park. Holy
shit!
Spirit
Worlds.
Now we're gonna have ghost dinosaurs.
Jurassic Ghost World.
There we go.
Yeah.
John Page.
Oh God, I just thought this was incredible. They opened it last year as kind of a grand opening, but I mean, this was the perfect episode to bust this out as kind of our opening icebreaker into this afterlife world. But yeah, go check it out online. World's largest Ouija board, and then go check out the other one. It's Murphy, I believe, that has it. I'm trying to think of the hotel that has it, but it's in central Pennsylvania, and then Salem is the other one. And go read the article about the competing Guinness Book World Records.
It's fucking insane. Before we get into that, I really want to stay at that dude's hotel. Because if you listen to what he has, he's got like the vampire room and Frankenstein's dungeon and all that kind of shit. It sounds like a dope fucking hotel. It sounds like what's that sex hotel here in KC? The Hotel Avalon.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's like a. Well, that's a better example. I was gonna say this is like a demented Great Wolf Lodge.
Yes. Answer the call, but the Great Werewolf Lodge.
Oh.
But like, no, but like, the Hotel Avalon where, you can go and like diddle yourself as a pirate, or you can go into like the fantasy nights.
I don't know about this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's over there by the Raceway Legends. It's called the Chateau Avalon.
You're kidding me.
No, they have it's a romantic getaway hotel, but all the rooms are themed. So you can there's the pirate room.
So it is the Great Wolf Lodge, but for adults.
For adults,
like
yeah,
across the street.
For say, I'm going to the pirate room and plunder some booty. You know, so it's like that's what you can do. And so like apparently it sounds like it's a horror version of that at the hotel.
Interesting.
But I want to see. I hope they fight so much to the point where they have to make some sort of like documentary like Tiger King for it.
Oh boy.
Because I would love to see that one guy like, you know who took away my Ouija board roof? Tell you one guess, it was that bitch Carol Baskins, and they just go off and off and off. Or even better yet, it's like King of Kong. You have the one guy who has the field Ouija, and he's dressed up in like a suit that looks like Ouija board, like that one question mark guy from the old TV commercials.
Or it's David Pumpkins.
Yeah. Any questions?
Yes, I do actually.
For the ghosts?
As a matter of fact, I have several. Yes, no, goodbye. It's perfect. Man, David Pumpkin should be a psychic medium.
He totally should.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Yes, I have several.
Just dial up 1-900-Pumpkins.
So,
we're our own thing.
This guy that has the largest Ouija board, his name is Rick Ortimus Schreck. And I'm trying to see, he's the vice president of the Talking Board Historical Society, which is a nonprofit devoted to the history of Ouija and similar board games. But he acknowledged that the board has not officially set the Guinness World Record. I think it has by now, after this article's kind of old at this point.
And the fact that it's like twice the size.
Yeah, like who else even comes close? But it's interesting that he's the vice president of the Talking Board Historical Society. But yeah, the thing's pretty interesting in general. And I think that's a perfect segue into the history of the Ouija board.
Mm-hmm.
Take us to the bottomless pit of creepy things, Killbot. So the history of Ouija boards. Let's talk about this for a second, because I thought I knew it. I thought I knew the general gist of it, but I didn't realize just how far back talking spirit boards went. Did you?
They weren't made by Parker Brothers?
Turns out they weren't. Turns out, I think the modern Americanized version, of course, but this started all the way back in China at 1100 AD.
Get the fuck out of here.
There was historical documents in the Song dynasty, and it was a method of planchette writing. So they would use the planchette writing as a means of communion with the spirit world, which obviously makes sense as what we know it as today. Mm-hmm. And so that just kind of continued into special rituals and kind of weird practices, but it all came from the planchette writing that they would have. And they have several kind of scriptures that supposedly are from an automatic planchette writing device that it's based on, these scriptures.
They're necromancers.
Yeah, it does. It says it right there.
That's fucking rad.
Isn't that crazy? I had this to me is way creepier.
Yeah.
Because if you got a planchette that's writing stuff and then you were kind of living your life in a sense from scripture of it,
you're a necromancer.
That's insane, right?
Yeah, you're celebrating the eldritch gods.
Yeah.
It's very creepy. And that's so weird that it goes all the way back in there to that time, and it's a thing that we put out by Parker Brothers. It's almost like
right.
It's almost like if Hungry Hungry Hippos was based on like an ancient hippo massacre where where hippos went rampant and killed a whole like the Roanoke community or something.
Yeah,
you know?
That's what happened to them actually.
Yeah. Hippos came out of nowhere.
out of nowhere. Randy Orton comes in.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where it started to begin with. But then we had kind of an evolution of it following the American Civil War in the United States, where mediums actually did a significant amount of business in terms of trying to talk, allegedly, by allowing survivors to contact the relatives that they lost in the Civil War. So you kind of had a rise of mediums, which then plays back into the Ouija itself.
Call me now, and we'll talk to your dead for just 10 cents a minute.
Cleo,
Madam Cleo,
R.I.P. She's dead, right? We should talk to Cleo.
There we go.
Fuck, that's a whole nother episode probably. So yeah, the Ouija itself was created and named in Baltimore, Maryland, in 1890, but the use of talking boards was still far more common in 1886. and the news reported the phenomenon taking over these spiritual camps in Ohio. So interesting that the war and the death and casualties that happened during the war, which are still something you hear about all the time with paranormal and ghost stories from the Civil War, really spawned these mediums to try and contact people with talking boards. And that's the first kind of rise that we had in America was because of the Civil War.
That would make sense. I mean, if everybody's dead, you know, brother against brother.
We all die.
Thing, right? Well, let's find out. Can you talk to Cletus for me? You know? Like,
right. There's a lot of Cletuses.
There's a lot of Cletuses in the Civil War. But you know what? That also brings rise to like shuckserism and like snake oil salesmen and shit. So like that's always so weird.
It's a give and take.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
you take the good, you take the bad, and then you have the Ouija. I guess.
You have the facts of afterlife.
There it is. God, man. It's just on point.
You'd like
time.
to speak to Tootie. Girls!
Oh my God, she's possessed. Listen to that voice.
She's possessed of Mrs. Garrett. Girls!
It's just Miss Garrett.
Joe, clean up your room.
So who do we have? We have Miss Garrett and Cleo that we're going to do next episode. Man, I really just want a Miss Garrett, like 30-minute episode.
Oh, just Mrs. Garrett?
But you doing Miss Garrett's voice. Can I get a full like sentence, not just a girls?
Okay. Who ate all the pizza? What? Was that you, Blair? Mindy.
God. Miss Garrett on a Ouija board is something that we need to make as a game.
Girls. It
just keeps repeating girls. Oh, that's just Miss Garrett. Anyway, boy, we went off topic there, but it was a nice road to go down.
The power of Garrett compels you.
So the way that we know it today is through, you mentioned earlier was the Parker Brothers game that I have here in front of me. But it really came to prominence after the Civil War when businessman Elijah Bond had the idea to patent the planchette that was sold with the board, which was obviously the alphabet was printed and you'd be using the planchette to talk through the board. So we had these previously existing talking boards, but now he's patented it.
Of course,
capitalism.
It's basically like let's take this ancient ritual and capitalize on
it. Because we were hearing about 1890, 1886, and he had that patent filed on May 28th in 1890, and that's when he had the protection of it, and it was credited with the invention of the Ouija board on February 10th of 1891, about a year later. So he kind of took an idea, patented it. He was a patent troll, essentially.
Yeah.
And then made it his own, and then started kind of selling it a little bit like the snake oil, if you will. But he also had William Fold, who was an employee of Elijah Bond, who took over the talking board production. So in 1901, his employee William Fold started making his own boards under his own name, which was then called Ouija. So this patent troll kind of got the wool pulled over his eyes by his own employee, who then called it a Ouija. And so Fold's boards claimed that he had learned the name Ouija from using the board, an ancient Egyptian word for the meaning good luck. So that's where we get the name from it, which is also something I did not know until...
I did not know either. I thought it was just like, we're here to contact the French people. The French goes on Ouija, you know? And
it really does sound like a name that was spelled out on a board randomly.
Ouija. How do you spell it?
W-I-W.
No, but I did not know that Ouija was an Egyptian name for good luck. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, which is ironic too, a little bit. Like,
because you need good luck when you're contacting the spirits.
That's right. So when he took it over, it became widely popular, and the name itself was a combination, it says, of the French and German words for yes. That was the more widely popular use of it. So it's some sort of hybrid, it feels like, of that. But he
just
ended
like
up,
Americans to take ancient other cultures and customs and bastardize them
Yep.
for mass appeal.
for our own culture.
Yeah.
Yep.
Way to appropriate
All the way back then.
Yeah. It's and now I can see like fucking you know how they remember it's our lifestyle, not a costume. It's just like a guy in a sheet.
Yeah.
And it's like stop appropriating our afterlife.
It's a lifestyle, not a costume.
It's a way of life.
So funny.
Way of afterlife.
But yeah, so these ended up really hitting popularity and had their heyday in the 1920s, which is kind of interesting because the Great Depression hits in the 1920s. Is it maybe now follow me here? Is it almost like a like desperation? You're depressed, you're down on your luck, and you're sad, and maybe you've lost people. Maybe that's why you're down on your luck.
Because it seems like
And you want to contact your loved ones to feel good again, right?
or maybe some advice, because it seems like
Yeah, that too.
the Civil War and then the Great Depression, and it probably uptick on World War II when there's just so much death and madness and hateful, and people are lost and they don't know. They want to either talk to people they lost or they want to get some sort of direction from a higher power. I mean, it's just almost like, I hate to say it's almost like religion, but you ever notice whenever there's a national tragedy or something terrible happens, there's always an uptick in religion and religious aspects because people are looking for answers, and it's kind of fucked up. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see in 2020 Ouija board sales have gone fucking straight up the roof because one, people are lost and they have answers. Two, people are losing people that they care about and they want to get a hold of them. And so like it's sad that you can see when something this popular becomes popular again.
And why?
Yeah. And so
you play on the tropes or history of what caused it to be popular to begin with, and in some ways, history repeats itself.
Yeah.
Now it's not the exact same, but we're still experiencing mass death regardless of the cause.
Yeah, we're not. It's not it's almost a civil war now. It's like
Yeah,
wear
it's
a
a
mask or
weird-
don't wear a mask. Blue and versus red. But like,
Oh wait, hold on. Do we have an EVP?
oh,
EVP came through. Okay, let's pause. Killbot, what do you have for us?
Hi. I hope you are having a great day and enjoying this fall weather. It is almost Halloween. This is Amy, from MoveOn.org. I am reaching out to you today to see if you have time to volunteer for a phone bank in Missouri. We need your help. Can I count on you?
Fucking Amy.
fuck did she get this number?
I don't even know, but here's what I think it was. You brought up red versus blue, and now Amy.
Algorithm, the Ouija algorithm and shit. God damn it.
It was a
Amy.
seance of some sort that
I'm
you
registered to
conjured.
vote already, Amy. I told you this 3 months ago.
It had to be your red versus blue comment
Had
that
to have been.
brought Amy through. Well, if you're not registered to vote, it's too late now. So just go do it if you already have. If you please go vote. This is our message. No more text from Amy. And if she texts us again, or if we get an EVP from her, Killbot, I don't know how you respond to that or what we do with this information, but it's the same Amy I've got on my phone several times. At this point, we probably need to bathe in mymilk.com her.
I think so.
We need to do a prank.
Yeah, next time anybody, and getting people to vote is fantastic, but if we're already a registered voter, leave us the fuck alone. And you ain't going to change your minds, at this point
I
in
know.
time.
It is what it is at this point.
So Amy, you contact us one more time, you're getting bathed in milk.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to break into. We had this great conversation going on, and then Amy ruins it like always.
Thanks, Killbot. Thanks, Amy.
Before we move on, there is something else I want to add. You added those 2 points. I think a third point is if you're not dealing with death as one of the causes that you might have a rise in spirituality or Ouija boards, it's also downtime.
Yeah.
Right? Like we've seen something interesting take place on Shudder. We talked about at the beginning with Killbot's inadvertent movie recommendation of Host, where people are getting together and just trying different things.
Something new.
Something to do while you have downtime.
And especially now,
This time of year, too.
Yeah, exactly. Especially now when the normies come out to play with the spooky.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, let's do something crazy. And you can always tell the normies are the ones that fuck with the spirit boards the most because they're the ones that don't see the movies like Witch Board,
Right,
Seance and shit like that.
Or they don't know the rules in general.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or the consequences and
Right.
repercussions of said actions.
Yeah. So I think now would be a good time. We've kind of learned the history We've seen something really cool with the oversized Ouija board. We talked about maybe why the rise in Ouija boards might take place. Let's talk about some paranormal or spiritual type of things that may have happened to us. Have we had experiences? Because I think if we get those out in the open now, when we try and contact someone here later in the show using the Ouija board, it might help us bring something through. So let's
unpack our baggage.
Yeah, let's get our stories out. Do you have any paranormal experiences you can share with us, and please be as detailed as possible?
Sure, absolutely.
And these are real.
Yeah, these are real. I was talking to you off mic about these.
We had a pre-pro.
Yeah.
Pre-pro before this. And surprisingly, we both have had some sort of experience. So let's share our real paranormal experiences first.
So the first one I had was at work, and then the second one I had is actually with the Ouija board, but we'll go ahead and do the work one first.
Yeah.
So I work at a toy store and thanks COVID. But like I worked at a toy store, and our toy store, we never taught it about it. We never really mentioned it to anybody, but it was extremely haunted, like crazy haunted.
How old is this toy store that you work in?
The toy store itself was about 20 years old, but the building is about 100.
Okay.
It was an old potato washing factory. It was an old from the railroads. It's right by the railroads, and it's in Bonner Springs, so it's all by the Indian lands that are there, and it's by the natural springs that are there, and near the Great Fire of Bonner of 1929 that was there. So there's a lot of energy there and history. Well, we have two ghosts there. We have repeaters, and then we have a full-on apparition. The repeater, it's these two Native American.
Can you tell me what a repeater is?
Yes. For those of you who don't know, it's people who their energy somehow became so much that it actually manifested. It's kind of like
a time loop or something.
A time loop type thing where you're just seeing this a scene from their life play over and over. Can't really interact with them. They can't interact with you. It's just
it's a recording almost.
Yeah, it's almost like you're looking through a small porthole into 100 years ago.
Yeah,
and you can't really interact. So I'm sitting there doing my thing, and I look over, and the room got really cold. It really did. I was like looking around. And I see these two Native American dudes, and they're just kind of walking. They walked maybe about 5-10 paces. They stopped. One of them put their hand above their eyes, like they're shielding from the sun to look further.
Yeah.
And another one pointed like it's over there. And then they just disappeared, and they just walked and gone. And I saw them twice. And so like, I was freaked out, but at the same time, where I was like, that's fucking creepy. But it wasn't to the point where I was scared, because there was nothing I could do, and there's nothing they could do. So it's just...
And it's not an interaction. It's just an observation.
It's just an observation. So, and it wasn't... And they weren't threatening, and they weren't, like, scary. It just looked like they were just two dudes dressed up in Native American outfits.
So you say you've seen them twice. Has anyone else at the store?
Yes.
Or I should say anyone that works with you, have you ever had... Maybe we get into this in a minute. I was going to say, have you ever had any customers have experiences? But first, let's start with anyone have you worked with. Have they seen the repeaters?
Yes. Actually, a few people I worked with have the repeater. One of the ladies who was telling me what it was before I knew about repeaters and why and all that stuff, she has psychic powers. So like she goes, no, they're there, and she taught a little bit about what they were and how they were, and we've had other employees like, did you see those two Native American dudes? They look kind of weird. And like, yeah, those are the repeaters. And like, what? And then we would go in the story, and they're like, holy shit. And then the other ghost we have is Carl, and he's a full-on apparition, but he's also the kind of ones that will like throw things off the shelf.
More benevolent toward people.
Yeah, no, he's a good ghost for the store, but if somebody... He's extremely benevolent towards the people who he comes in contact with.
He's a protector.
Yes, he's a very protector, because if somebody's getting pissed off at us or they're yelling at us, shit would fly off the shelves at them. It was the weirdest fucking thing. I mean, things that wouldn't fly, and we were right by a train track, so it's very possible if things fall off the shelf.
Sure.
Oh, it's a train track that knocked it down.
But you know when a train goes by.
But we know when a train goes by, and when they fall off, it's whenever there's negative, like crazy anger energy in that store, that's when we see Carl, and he's like a protector ghost.
Two things, maybe three. First of all, ghost train, maybe.
No, because we feel it every single fucking time, and we see it, and it goes. We know it's unless it's like, woo, then we know it's a ghost. We know it's not a ghost train.
The pink slime in Ghostbusters sounds like this the type of apparition it is.
And as long as we don't play "Your Love Keeps Lifting Me,"
Right? Yeah.
then we should be fine.
Yeah. But he seems to get angry when there's other people angry around him.
Yes.
So
he
that's
seems
similar.
He seems to be angry when there's people angry at us.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're like, okay, he's a protector ghost. He's kind of like, he just does his own thing and he's just chill. And so that's kind of cool to have your own like protector ghost. And we try not to like abuse him. And we really don't tell people that we're haunted. But we do have customers like, there was
just get an eerie vibe.
Really weird guy in the other room over there. And I'm like, what? You're the only customer in the store.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? And I'm like, what does he look like? Tall, beard, hat. And I'm like, that's Carl. That's Carl.
Does it freak him out?
Yeah. And they're like, who's Carl? And I'm like, just some railroad person who just died here. He's just,
dude, it's Carl.
It's Carl. And like, and I worked there for so long, and we've had so many experiences with Carl, and like almost 90% of the employees know about Carl. The only ones who don't are anti-spiritual.
Okay.
They're like, no, I don't believe it, and I'm not gonna believe it.
That's what I was gonna ask. The ones that don't know, do you tell them?
Yeah.
About? Okay.
Yeah, and they're like,
as
no.
like a heads
They're
up.
like, no, they're like, no, that's impossible. That's not true.
And you, forgive me if you said this and I missed it. It's Carl because the person you work with that's psychic.
Who said that his name was Carl?
That's how you know.
Yes.
Have you ever done Ghost Nation research on this building other than it used to be a potato washing factory? Of anyone significant that might have died in the factory?
Really.
I wonder if there's even records of that.
See, I don't know, because I mean that's the bad
It would be
thing.
really interesting if there was a link back to an actual.
Well, we know the Native Americans were Native Americans.
Yeah,
that was
sure.
a little while ago, but Carl looks like he's kind of timeless because it's like dirty slacks and like just
beard,
like a beard, a hat, kind of like a cowboy-ish type hat, but it's not. He doesn't look like a cowboy. Like maybe he died in like the 20s.
Do you see him, or is it more of shadow person?
No, you see him.
So
you
it's
full on
like-
see him. It's
Okay.
weird. It's a guy. He looks like a dude, but just if you were more backlit.
Yeah.
You know, if you were more backlit, just not necessarily transparent,
Yeah.
but like
It's more of a
okay, you don't
mass.
feel good type thing. You sure you don't feel like type thing.
Interesting.
It's really fucking weird.
Let me ask you this: have you ever considered, or were the owners ever consider an actual ghost hunt, paranormal activity?
No.
People coming in to cleanse it, or are they just like, nope? We
The owners are the ones that don't believe.
oh, that's super.
So
interesting.
they're like whatever, and they're like,
and they would never allow that.
no, they would never allow it because they don't want like the
So-
bad. They don't want to be known as the haunted toy store, even though like
But that's just gonna bring more business.
that's what I said. But at the same time, when people want to expect to see a haunting, and it rarely happens. It usually happens when there's not a lot of people there.
But that's kind of the scenario of give someone something free, they come in, and then they buy something else anyway.
That's what we're hoping that. Hey, but he
give
doesn't.
them,
He
give
doesn't.
them a potential spiritual experience, and then they'll still buy a yo-yo.
But it's also in the middle of Bonner, and they
Good point.
are very like,
Good point.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very
Community. Yeah.
very religious,
Right.
Very religious area.
I mean, where we are,
Yeah,
we're in the bread
Midwest.
basket.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Bible Belt. We're riding the buckle.
Mine has not. My experiences have never been nearly as interesting as that. But I've
I didn't
had.
even go into the spirit board one.
What's that?
I didn't even go into the Ouija board one.
Oh shit! You have another one?
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about that. Oh, I'd like to hear this.
Okay.
Yeah, get into this because I've got one that centers around one individual, but this to me this is way more interesting. I feel like we got to get it out, especially a Ouija board one.
Yeah.
because that could be pertinent to our activity later.
And again, this is a 100% true story. I mean, like,
Yeah, none of these. You know, we like to have fun on the show.
yeah, yeah. And if we're gonna tell you something true, we'll say like, or you know, like this is a true story.
Yeah,
you know,
like
but-
these are legitimate things that happen, and we're hoping that it sets up something later on. We'll see.
So I used to fuck with the spirit board, with a Ouija board, a lot actually, a lot.
How old were you?
I was about 15, 16, so it was
Okay.
way back in the day, about 25 years ago.
Oh
right?
gosh, I know.
And so, And to the point where we would take it to places and we would do things with it and all sorts of crazy stuff. We actually would contact it, me and a couple of friends of ours, and the ghost we contacted was named Hank.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, because we asked it what's his name, and it put the H and the A and the N and the K. And fortunately, it was before King of the Hill, because I would have been like, now how's Bobby?
Oh boy,
Did they have propane back in the
it would have
spirit
just
world?
made the spirit pissed off.
Pissed off. Damn it! And then just go. No, but like we would use it in the room, and we would contact it and like saying like, hey, how are you? Ask it stupid fucking teenager questions,
right.
like make sure my teacher's sick or some shit like that.
Right.
You know. But when we did it, we were asking, okay, if you're there, give us a sign, make it more powerful. And of course, we were looking for something,
Sure,
to see some justification in this. But the lights started getting brighter and brighter and brighter to the point where it was almost blinding. But then again, we were looking at the lights, so
Right.
like you got to take it with a grain of salt.
Could have been an effect after so long that it's
Mhm.
just
And we took it to different places and fucked around. We took it to the mall once.
Really?
Yeah, we took them. We were outside in the parking lot. It was Halloween time. Like, let's fucking
Oh, okay.
play. And so we were like, okay, show us your power. Make somebody turn that. There was people walking with this Chinese food. This guy would like make something gross happen to his Chinese food, like in like Lost Boys, like turn it into worms or something, you know. And so then like. And we were waiting, and then later on, you're like, oh, this is gross. And then you just threw it away, and we're like, yeah, it worked. You know, it probably fucking didn't work. We were probably just tired of that shit. But we were 16, and we thought it had powers. And we didn't think anything of it. But then, like, the more we used it, the more bad luck started happening.
Oh,
Like,
that's not good.
cars started breaking down. House got broken into. Just different bad things.
Yeah.
Nothing terrible, but bad. Then one day I was arguing with my mom, and I went to the other side of the house, and she was going down to the basement to do some laundry. And then all of a sudden you hear boom, 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 and then a scream like, ah! I run down to see what's going on, and she goes, why did you push me? Why did you do that?
Down the stairs.
She gets up and her face is bloody and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, what happened? She goes, you pushed me down the stairs. And I go, I didn't push you down the stairs. I was in the other side of the house.
And why would you do that?
And I'm like, there was no point of me pushing you down. She goes, somebody pushed me down the stairs. I felt two hands push me down the stairs. And I go, Mom, there's no way. I was on the other side of the house. And she goes, I didn't think it was you because I would have seen or heard you.
Right.
Like with footsteps or something.
Yeah.
And she goes, but you're the only one here. There's no other possibility. I'm like, Mom, I swear to you, I did not push you. And that went on back and forth for a little bit. But she goes, oh, I must have tripped or something. She goes, but I swore I felt hands on me. And I was like, okay, things are getting serious and things are getting like physical. So my spirit board days are over.
Did you ever tell her that you were using? Did she know you were using it to this day?
Probably now. She
Because
might
it's
have
on this
guessed.
podcast.
Yeah, right. No, but at the time we always had this uneasy relationship between my love of horror and like her wanting a normal child, you know? So that's why I didn't bring it up because I didn't want to throw fuel to that fire.
Conflict.
But ever since then, like, no, first of all, I fully believe in ghosts because I fucking seen them.
Right.
And then two, I don't want to call up because ghosts, like, people can lie and they could be like, hey, I'm cool. I'll be your friend. Yeah, I'm here to help, you know. Let's be cool. And next thing you know, they're fucking pushing your mom down the stairs.
And you're spitting pea soup out of your mouth.
Right? I'm summoning Tootie. You know? I'm getting calls from Amy. So it's like, you know, bad things happen when you fuck with the Ouija board.
In my experience with Ouija boards growing up, very limited. I always liked the thought of them. I liked hearing people's stories. I never knew if I really believed anything would happen with them other than it being a novelty game, but I liked the idea of it. And I own one. I have one right here in front of us on the table. It's probably from the 80s or 70s from Parker Brothers, an older model. And I just think even the graphics on the front of it,
they're dope.
Make it feel creepier because it's older. And it inherently feels like something bad could happen.
Yes.
And so it's because of the history of it, because of the novelty of it, but then also all the folklore in a sense and real experiences people have claimed to have from it just build on. It's like an urban legend game in a sense. I've only used it, to my knowledge, I've never used this with anyone, maybe 2 or 3 times in my life. And it was never like ever taken seriously. Probably in some ways, you're sitting in a parking lot telling it to do stuff. I don't think we ever asked it to do anything, I would say like childish. I don't know.
Yeah.
We were trying to be a little serious, but it was never overtly, and we never really we're like, oh, it didn't work. Fine, whatever. So I can't say that I've ever used it and then actually had anything happen, or to my knowledge, I never really thought about it. Anything bad occurred after that, immediately after that. So I don't have any stories about that, but I do have paranormal experiences when I was growing up in my grandparents' home. I lived there. My mom lived there. My 2 uncles lived there. So, and my uncles were around like teenage age, college age. And so they were all there. Full house, old house, 100 years old or so. My grandpa was a carpenter, so he would renovate it from time to time. We'd add on rooms, which historically speaking, or like scientifically speaking, I don't know about that. Whenever you renovate something, it could stir up spirits if there's anything in the house because they don't like change. Well, this house was 100 years old. Before they bought it, the last previous owner was very old elderly woman who died at her kitchen table. And so nothing, crazy happened to cause her death.
It's just old age.
But she died, right? So there's a chance the spirit's in there. I mean, I know it's always like, well, they have to have suffer a bad death, right? To have something.
Or incomplete business or some shit.
Yeah, to come back. But I don't think that's true. I think it's just your spirit in general. And so I believe in ghosts. I've never seen one. However, I've had these paranormal experiences in that house. And my Uncle Bobby would always tell me, oh, that's Nelly doing it. And I'm a kid, so he's really like fucking with me. But he believes in ghosts, as far as I know. He's went on ghost hunts and stuff. So we had old windows with counterweights in them, no air conditioning, and we'd leave them open a lot in the summer. And one day it was going to rain, and we don't have cell phones. It's just like whoever gets back to the house first, close the windows. It's going to rain. Well, we got back, and all the windows in the house were closed, which it's a 2-level house. It's not 2-story house. It's just got like an attic that's been finished. But everything's closed, and it's just like, who did this? So I don't know if it was maybe my uncle screwing around with this, but no one admitted to it, and it seemed very serious in terms of like, I swear I didn't do it. So that was one scenario. We had loud bangs that would happen on the walls. It sounded, I mentioned it sounded like, if a sheetrock had come apart, a heavy piece inside the wall and like fell and crumbled, and it sounded like someone banged on the wall and did it. And there's no way sheetrock, if it was, would have just broke and fell
in one big chunk
for no reason. And so I was in my room, my mom was in the room on the other side, and we both kind of came around and were like, what was that? And I was like, I thought it was you. And she's like, nope, I thought it was in your room. And so we never
fucking weird
figured out what that type of thing was. And then one of the last things was another room had been added on, and it was still kind of down to the hardwood, and it wasn't finished. So I would go in there and play with Nerf basketball. I'm like, I can't break anything in here, right? So
Nerf.
It was exactly. So for me, it was a place to play, and I would take in my old radio. I'd take outside a tape player. It was very hard to turn on. I remember that vividly, from like FM to get to the radio or to get to the tape. And it just popped on one day when I was in there, and the volume was blaring, which is not something I ever did either. I always just kept it at like a respectable level, and it was super loud. I'm not saying it couldn't have been bumped and turned up, but it would not have just come on because it was too hard to do. And so again, in a room that was being renovated too, is interesting to me. And then the last piece isn't necessarily an experience, but more of a feeling, and it was always the attic. The attic always kind of creeped me out, and I think it's because I was a kid. And it's an attic, like wood stairs going up. It's dark. And then the place that's finished is fine. I mean, it kind of just looks like a finished space. But then you walk across kind of a catwalk into the other front half of the house where the window was, and it was all unfinished. You kind of had to walk on the boards like you would in an attic. That just always felt unnerving to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because I was a kid or if there was maybe something in the attic that I felt that way. But the other things, for sure, like a little strange. But I never saw, to my knowledge, an apparition. I did, however, one time in that house. It's kind of weird. But I saw a mouse, and it startled me. I was probably under 10.
Might startle me now.
It might startle me now, yeah. You just happened to see it. But I remember very vividly, it startled me, and I let out a scream and kind of looked up and away and was kind of moving away from it. When I looked up and away, I locked eyes with myself. I saw myself as like a mirrored image for what felt like maybe 2 or 3 seconds.
Holy shit.
And I remember the scream I made, but my face being very still as like, what have I almost like, oh, I've seen a ghost, but it was a mirror image of myself. And then it was just gone. It was like a trance almost, like you kind of get into a trance and you're staring off into space. It was like that, but for 2 or 3 seconds at your expressionless self. It's like an out-of-body experience type of feeling.
Man.
That I've never truly ever replicated.
Yeah.
And I've heard of like retina burn and that kind of thing that can cause you to maybe see a reflection of even yourself. But there would have been nothing that would have caused that phenomenon in that moment. So very weird experience. And it was all in that house. So that's the only reason I bring it up again is an unusual paranormal type of thing.
Your radio story reminded me of one time at work. We our boss would do demonstrations for marble making for a bunch of people. They would come in as a big group or whatever, and they'd watch a demonstration. He had this little toy on his desk, though, called the Tiki Drummer. And the Tiki Drummer was this, it was maybe about 6 inches tall totally. Yeah. And it's this tiki-headed guy, and he had a little drum kit. Yeah. And you'd push a button, and it would play a very specific, certain song. It would play bum 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 bum
same time.
Bum bum bum, right? And it would play a long song, and then it would stop, and then the battery started going one day, and then bum 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 bum, a little slower. Well, we thought the batteries were dead, and then my boss, in the middle of his demonstration, he's making a marble, and the tiki guy comes on.
Yeah.
But it's not playing the bum 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 bum. It's playing bum baka tika 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 dun 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 bum 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 bum. A different song, fast paced, like it has plenty of juice.
Yeah.
A song none of us have heard before, nobody ever heard since.
Oh,
and
that's
then
bizarre.
And everybody was like, "Oh, that was freaky." And then they're like, oh, and he goes, "Oh, it just came out of nowhere." And everybody's like, "Oh, that was crazy." And he goes, "Yeah, it does that. It doesn't fucking do that." He was just saying that to not. And the people
for his own
right. And then us employees who were sitting there like listening were like, "That's not the song that it's supposed to play. That's not what it was supposed to do." And the batteries are dead.
They were legit dead.
Well, when we tried it in, it wouldn't work again once we turned it on.
Sure.
And so we're like,
what has happened?
Oh, so it's still there, but we totally keep the batteries 100% out of it
just
now.
in case it
just
happens.
In case, so
you can check against it.
The ghosted machine.
I've had in this house, it was more of just I think it legitimately is just like a battery dying. You hear it a lot, I feel like, and it can be debunked. But it doesn't make it any less creepier. We got one of these Fisher-Price door play sets for my son. It's like 2 or 3 feet tall. The door swings open. It makes noise. It's like hello, and it sings songs and that kind of thing. And the fucking thing just came on one night when I was in here playing a game.
Fuck all that noise.
And it's of course coming on, but it's coming on in that draining battery type. And I'm like, what? I'm the only one up. It's 1 a.m. I'm in the basement. This is not an old house. That doesn't mean anything. But what? And so I went over quickly and turned it off. And then I knew for sure it was off because my son, he doesn't really play with it anymore, but occasionally he'll go over, flip the thing on, do something, and then run away and go upstairs, and all of a sudden it's on for, days at a time. And that's probably why it's dying. But now I know. Well, I shouldn't say now I know, because he could have done the same thing. He could have flipped it back on. But it was turned off for that night. I knew if this happens again,
then some ill shit.
Now I'm concerned.
But
it didn't, to my knowledge.
That's good.
Yeah.
But it was so weird with the thing at work because it was 100% different song. And
right. Yeah.
And it wasn't slow. Like the batteries were dying.
It was upbeat.
It was
faster than
fast.
normal.
Yeah. And it wasn't. It was almost like Claire de Lune or some probably Danse Macabre. But that whole battery draining thing, my brother's Furby did that once.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that too.
Weirdest fucking thing, because they're like, the Furbies, when they're full power, they're like,
Yeah.
I love you. But when you have the batteries dying, it's like, I love you.
That's kind of what that noise and
fuck you, Furby.
Yeah, those things are crazy.
Yeah, it is.
You see a lot of that type of stuff debunked, but it doesn't make it any less creepy.
Doesn't make it any less creepy.
Man, I feel like we need to get you I should give you one of these small handheld sound recorders I've got, or we should get one of the EMF detectors and just have you take it in and see what's up.
I'm telling you, if they ever did a ghost hunt in Moon Marble, they would find something totally.
Do a live stream of that.
Yeah.
But you gotta have people willing to do it. I don't want to make anyone angry. So,
right. Hell,
including the ghost.
We can't even get into Moon Marble, right?
Well, right. Yeah, that too. So yeah, that's interesting stuff. I think good to hear some background of any experiences we have going into the next piece of this, because we decided to try separately, off mic, not today.
A couple of days ago.
Screwing around with these. That's why I've got mine out laying here in front of me, and we thought we'd share those experiences now as to what took place. So
Whoa, let's get creepy.
what took place for you, and what was your method of trying to was it a Ouija? Was it
since I don't fuck with spirit boards anymore.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because earlier you said you haven't really touched one, so I'm curious how you experimented with this.
I decided to go the Halloween 3 technology route, and I downloaded this app called the iWouija.
Oh,
put it on your iPhone.
Was it free with in-app purchases?
No, it's fucking purchases.
Oh,
and
geez.
So it was only 99 cents on sale for Halloween, so it's cool. So I figured I would try to summon either the devil or something, a higher demon, to do my bidding, because I fucked with ghosts, and ghosts are okay and all, but if you're going to use the spirit board to the other side, go big or go home. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just like the guy with the 77-foot fucking Ouija board. Go big or go home.
He saw the other guy and was like, I can do better.
Anything you can do, I could do better. And so they were like, yeah. So I got the iWouija, but it's the first build.
It's beta.
Yeah.
It's in the beta.
It's all state-of-the-art digital, but it's got a lot of fucking kinks to work out. And especially with autocorrect. So basically, I summoned Satin.
Oh, wait. How does that work? Was it just when you went to bed that night, like sheets felt
billowy? It looked like an 80s video, like a fucking Bonnie Tyler video.
So it was a ghostly vignette apparition that came up.
My name is Silky. No, but no. I guess it was supposed to be Satan. I was trying to ask it stuff like, what do I need to gain power? How do I smite my enemies? What do I need to sacrifice? How can I get people to like me and fear me and do my bidding?
General.
Yeah.
But
give me some power.
Asshole things.
The Ouija stuff. The basics. Demon summoning 101.
It was actually it was like a help section of how to use
a little paper
iWouija.
clip came up and you need a hand.
Looks like you're trying to summon Satin.
Yeah.
Can I help you?
The touch, the feel of satin, the fabric of our afterlives. No, but it answered everything.
Too easy.
It answered everything I wanted it to, but I had to fucking second guess everything, and I had to figure out. It just wound up being a lot more trouble than it was worth. It was giving me shit saying things like "I will burn and help."
Autocorrect.
You right? Every ducking thing on this plant will diet and be tossed in a pot of dampness. What the fuck does that mean? You know, I'm
They're
like,
boiling things.
I'm maybe pit of damnation, but every ducking thing into the pot of dampness.
Ducking's the worst.
Unwed mothers will cook socks. You know, it's like I don't understand what the hell it was trying to say. All Virginians will beg for a quick deck. What the fuck is that?
Those Virginians,
right? I'm like, come on now. And it kept doing it. Then it kept saying, no, not ducking. No, ducking. You know what I mean? And it was like that for 2 fucking hours. And there was some times where I just kept getting 3 dots. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
It just, I was going to say, what would the equivalent of that be on the current one? Let me ask you this. You've had your experience with an iWouija and a regular Ouija board.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like better?
Fucking regular Ouija, and that ones I don't fuck with. At least I can get a clear answer out of them. I might not be the answer I want, but I don't have to fucking second guess and then wait all the time for the 3 dots.
Or the in-app purchases.
Yeah, to contact us, please deposit. It's like 1-800-CALL-ATT and shit for ghosts. Yeah, but no, it was weird too when we were doing it too. That everything started like we were able to connect, but it worked better than what I expected it to.
Who ended up coming?
Satin.
Just Satin?
Satin. We just finished just kept like I said, it kept fucking up, missing up things, but weird shit was happening.
That's what I was going to say. Did anything come through like other than the name? Did you have experiences with this?
Yes. Okay. All my Android devices exploded like instantaneously.
Dude, that explains a lot.
Like poof. I'm like, oh shit, right? The Nokia didn't. My old antique Nokia still survived.
Flip?
Heaven blessed.
Flip phone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But apparently when the 3 dots kept, it had that syncing.
Yeah.
The symbol. All the time, but then it was like a pentagram, and then the syncing signal and pentagram, right? And it wound up syncing with every single fucking thing in my house that I had. The lights flickered on and off, but it was in time. This Pandora station came on the Christian radio, and all the lights were flinking on and on.
And then an ad came on because you didn't have a subscription, and
yeah, right. Subscribe to Caleb, and it just kept going on and on and on and on. And like I was trying to think, why would it be Christian radio if it's like summoning Satin? I guess if everything is else fucked up, and I guess that explains why like Christian music sucks.
Christian like soft sheets, man.
I guess so. The billowy touch of Satin.
Everybody.
Okay,
does.
but like it was really weird. My caller ID kept blinking 666. My computer crashed. The locks on my doors didn't budge. All the alarms went off. My fridge started blowing fire. Every smart item I had got really stupid.
This exceeded expectations, I think.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll get some EVP.
Okay.
Right? I tried it because I'm
Is that a mode or something on there that you can do, or was it just...
Well, you know when you can record your conversations on your phone?
Yeah. Just a voice memo thing.
Yeah, just a voice memo. And it just wound up saying, like, it kept telling me to go to hell. But it was in the GPS Alexa voice. It's like...
It's like Siri.
Yeah, the Siri voice is like, damnation, turn left. Go fuck yourself for 3,000 miles, and your destination will be on the right. And like, that's all I got.
Your
and
destination's in eternity.
That's why I wound up getting lost coming here, because my GPS is still not seeing. I'm like, why is it taking me to a different house?
Man, you had a lot.
A lot of shit went down.
It's a lot more than I would have expected for a novelty
Silver Shamrock Industries come through again. So
my gosh.
I think I'm going to delete that app, though, because not only is it evil, but it fucking takes up so much space. So much space.
It's gonna come back like a weird U2 album that just gets put onto your phone.
The great thing about it is it comes with like an attachment, like an accessory that you can use in the what's it called? I want to call it the phalange. The
planchette. The
planchette.
Yeah.
But you have to buy a separate charging cord.
It's like, you have an Apple product, or is this a Nokia?
No, it's an Apple.
Yeah.
The Nokia and the Apples were the only thing that survived.
Surprisingly, it actually fits the Nokia.
Right.
They haven't changed anything. The charger still works on it. So how did the session end then after all this? I mean, this is a lot to digest.
Mm-hmm.
And you said it's still screwing with your GPS. How did the Ouija end?
It died. It
Oh,
just fucking died. It just a blank screen of death, and like I can't. The charger, all my chargers don't work. I have to get a whole new fucking charger to recharge the fucking Ouija thing.
So the power shorted out.
Yeah,
The spiritual power shorted everything out.
all I know is
All your smart stuff.
everything. So I have a
Does insurance cover Ouija damage?
no, because in the listed terms you have to agree when you that whole licensed product thing that you will not sue or cannot be charged with any spectral shenanigans. I'm hoping they get it all worked out when the Ouija 6.66 comes out, because I got that fucker on pre-order.
It's weird when they go through the terms, they don't mention spiritual shenanigans as a line item.
When selling your soul to Satan or reading user agreements, always read the fine print.
Well, you know, I can't wait for 5G to get here and control all of us. So.
Right? I, for one, welcome our new 5G overlords.
And let me know when you get that 6.66 version of that. I'd like to. I never buy the beta. I will buy that one, though.
Yeah, you know. You might want to wait, see if they get all the, like, especially spell correct, because the autocorrect, it ducking sucks.
That sounded like it was a real issue.
Nightmare.
I gotta say, mine wasn't as eventful, and I'd like to maybe, and I also didn't really get to any closure around it. So now that you're here, you haven't given this a spin in quite some time. I'm here. I'm here with you. We're in a safe space.
Only for you, dude.
And what I'd like to do is tell you kind of what my experience was, where it left me, and how I'd like to, because I would like closure around what I experienced. I feel like I can do that now with a friend, because I'm not as scared.
Right.
Having someone with me. So
only for you.
I appreciate that.
Only for you.
I appreciate that. I told you about the woman that was in my grandparents' house.
Yeah.
So I thought, if I'm going to summon someone, there's some people that I could summon, but I'll tell you this. I didn't want to summon anyone that I knew.
That's opening up a scab, isn't it?
Right? Like, it's a scab. It's like, what if something comes through? Are they screwing with you? Is it really them? Or are they using the portal to manipulate you? So I thought, I don't know this lady that died in my grandparents' house, but I think I experienced something that might have been because of her. I don't know for sure. Why don't I try to contact her?
Okay.
So I've got candles here. I've got my Heritage Pumpkin Candle for fall.
Yeah.
Basic bitch. Right?
Pumpkin spice ghosts and
Fuck
shit.
me. So I'm like, all right, I'll light this candle. I've got a room with no windows. If I close the door, it's pitch black in here. I'm going to sit in the middle of the floor. I'm going to try this out. See if I can summon the lady that lived in my grandparents' house. So I asked, will you please come forward? Old woman that lived in my grandparents' house. Elderly lady. And I sat there for a little bit, and I was getting pretty skeptical. Also a little creeped out, because you're just sitting in the dark by yourself.
With a spirit board.
Super late at night. No one else is up or around.
The smell of pumpkin in the air.
Yeah, so I mean that's like a trance by itself that you're getting to come through. So I'm sitting there, and finally it starts to speak to me. And by that I mean it's it's starting to spell a name finally, and it comes through as Gladys. I was like, that's interesting, because I thought the lady's name at my grandparents' house was Nellie.
Right.
So this come later after the fact, which I'll get to in a minute. So as I'm doing this, after I was done with that event, I text my uncle. I was like, do you know Nellie's name? And he had done research, because he liked paranormal stuff and thought it was interesting. And her name was Nellie Gladys Johnson. So Gladys came through, which I thought was interesting. So now I've got Gladys here, and I'm like, well, again, is this the person, like we mentioned earlier? And I started to hear voices whisper. I was getting kind of an EVP, which was interesting, because I've got all this video equipment in here. I've got little handheld recorders I used to use, so I had it just running next to me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really picking anything up. Only I was hearing it, which I thought was weird. It's usually the other way around.
Right.
She goes, I'm the possessor of all things pure. I am the cleansing white. I'm dripping in truths that you seek, the holy liquid.
Oh.
It's like, what did I get myself into?
The ghost of Cardi B.
Yeah. She's dripping. So I just thought, like,
Wet ass poltergeist.
this is heavy stuff
Yes.
happening to me in the middle of the night with a name that might be familiar. And so I'm just like, holy crap. And here's the kicker, the number one rule of Ouija boards. Don't break the circle, don't break the connection, or you might release a portal for the spirit to break through and come through. I mean, what do you do in that situation, though, right?
What can you do?
So then it's sitting there and it's spelling something else out, and it's like A S S.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. T R O L L.
Astral.
Astral. And it went from like serious to silly pretty quick. I'm like, what does that even mean? And it's interesting thing because I feel like what you said, you had autocorrect on iWouija. I felt like they misspelled something, and then it clicked to me. It was astral. Astral projection. And then I was like, my God, I have experienced something similar to that in that house, or at least a out of body experience. Right. So I'm trying to connect those dots. I'm like, oh shit. Then I heard a smirk in the room. Have you ever heard a smirk?
Mm-mm.
I wouldn't recommend it. It's very unnerving. I can't describe it, but I heard a smirk. So it felt like an evil presence was in the room. My pumpkin candle had went out, and a foul kind of sour stench had started to fill the room, which I thought, and I could start to kind of taste it in my mouth a little.
Like curdled?
A little, yeah. And so I thought that was a little bizarre. It kind of reminded me of something that I'd once smelled in the renovation area of the house when they were cleaning out something that was rotting. So I'm like, man, a lot of this is oddly connecting dots that I wasn't expecting to even remember, let alone connect. Then, out of nowhere, I felt a smack on the back of my head, which totally freaked me out in the dark.
Yeah.
And then a loud yell, and I was startled, clearly. And unfortunately, I turned around, and my wife had come in and said, put that damn thing away.
Kate wasn't having it.
She does not like Ouija board. She believes in ghosts. She doesn't want to have any part of it.
I don't blame her. Me and her are right on the same page.
And put that to a halt very, very quickly. But I thought we were done. The problem is the circle or the portal at that point had been broken.
Dude, we got to get you some closure.
We had no closure to the scenario, and so now I'm worried.
Yeah. We got to close the portal.
So I would like, before anything happens, they've actually left for the weekend because this happened, and we're worried. What if something happens? I'm like, this is my fault. I'm gonna have Genius come over and try and figure this out with me.
As your friend, I have to help you.
So I would like to get the board here. We'll take a brief break. We'll get set up, and then we will start. Hopefully what provides an answer, and it doesn't take as long. If it takes too long, we'll edit it down.
Is your board charged up?
Yeah. So let's take a break, and we'll get this situated.
All right, we're all set up, man.
Okay, we got it here. I've lit my basic bitch candle.
It smells fucking great.
It does.
Here, dude.
And now you can understand if the room were to smell differently, you would know immediately, right?
Yeah.
You would know right away. Okay.
Because I'm going to start smelling curdled as opposed to this wonderful pumpkin pie.
Sour versus pumpkin pie. It's a very different experience. So let's get you're in a good spot. Candle's lit. You put your hands on here.
Okay.
You want the left or right?
I'm left-handed.
Okay, I am too, so fuck you. Here we go. I'll go on the right side. I had my hands, it was just me, so it was both of them. So you take that side, I'll take this side.
Okay. Are we supposed to be holding hands?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I was just getting excited. Okay, cool.
Well, my hand is moist. It's holy liquid that maybe Gladys was talking
It's
about.
wet ass poltergeist.
Dripping in seek of the truth. So let's just kind of relax for a second. Shake it out.
All right.
Who are we speaking with today? Is Gladys here? Will you please answer yes or no? It's nothing. You feel it? Oh,
No, it's moving.
are you doing it?
No, I'm not doing this. Are you doing this?
No, I would never do this. I don't even play with these. It goes. Yes. Yes. It just got over the letter.
Okay.
I thought we were going to D and then it. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. So Gladys, you're here.
All right.
Circle. Yes. Okay. Okay. I'm getting nervous now. We've established Gladys is here. Are you the one from my grandparents' house? Yes or no? Okay. No. Okay,
No?
that's not what I had before.
Okay, that throws your theory out, dude. Who the fuck are we talking to?
Throws my theory out, but maybe your theory of manipulation
Maybe.
works. Okay. Why should we ask it?
Do you have a message for us?
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, give us a sign, give us a message. Why are you contacting us tonight? That was a quick move. Let's go into letter B.
Okay, B.
Okay. To E.
Okay, B.
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 Okay. S.
All right.
U.
U.
Okay. R.
Okay.
Oh.
E.
E. Man, went a little
So-
crazy there for a minute.
Be sure.
Okay, I don't. Be sure to do something. To do what? To do. To be careful. There's no way.
To.
Okay, we got be sure to.
Okay.
Okay. Enthralling podcasting, by the way. B.
B. Okay.
A.
Uh-huh.
T. Be sure to.
Be sure to bat.
Bat?
Are we talking to Jackie Daytona?
Is it H?
Oh, be sure to bat.
Bath?
Do I smell?
It was maybe the stench that we talked about earlier. E? Okay. E.
Okay.
Okay. Be sure to bathe.
In the blood of virgins?
That would make more sense with what we might be dealing with. Maybe she's not. I?
I.
Be sure to bathe I?
Bathy?
Bathy.
in.
Okay. Be sure to bathe
sure
it.
to
Okay.
bathe
Could be
in.
blood
All right.
of my victims.
Yeah.
Oh, it is my. Oh, we got an
Yeah.
MY.
Why?
Should have bathed in my. Okay, this could be bad. Could be blood. Oh, it paused. Paused. Stench? Is it smelling oddly different? Is the
Dude.
candle still on? Oh, M.
Dude, it smells bad, and
It's
it
putrid.
smells damp, and it smells like sadness in here.
I. Be sure.
To
Bathe in my. I. L.
L
K. What? Be sure to bathe in my milk.
bathe in my milk.
Oh, it's fast now.
Oh,
D.
D
O.
O
T.
C O M. God
What,
damn it!
Dan?
Be sure to bathe in my milk.com.
Just- Oh, you let go. You let go.
Oh, I'm pissed, Gladys.
I've still got one hand on it.
Me
We're
too.
still here.
God damn it, Gladys. Was that you?
Are you the
Are
woman
you the
in
one in
white?
the pictures?
Are you the one in white? Yes.
H A H A
Oh God.
H A.
It's frantic. It went from yes to ha ha ha.
Whoa!
Oh.
Did you see that just moved to goodbye by itself?
Yeah, I didn't have my hand on it because I thought you were moving it
No.
to ha ha for a second, and I. So is this a? Wait, be honest with me.
Yeah.
Is this a bathe in my milk joke that you did, or is this legitimately Gladys?
I think we contacted Gladys.
Holy shit, dude! This makes okay. think about what happened to me the other day when I was by myself. All that makes more sense now because it said
She wants you to go bathe in the milk.
yeah, it was possessor of pure things. I mean, okay, cleansing of the white. I don't know what that means exactly, but milk is white, dripping in the truths you seek. Milk, and then the holy liquid.
It's batheinmymilk.com. Fucking Gladys gets us again.
I can't believe this.
First it's Amy, now it's Gladys. You know what?
You're not far off from an Oval. This is the modern day Ovaltine.
Next time Amy calls from Move On, she's getting bathed in my milk.
Yeah, prank bathe in my milk. That's
Yeah. I think
Please-
I think we just got pranked bathed in my milk right now.
I think that all the times that we've been doing it to people, this is karma coming back on us. I don't think it's an evil spirit at all. I think it has a very good sense of humor.
Yep.
I feel much better telling my wife that it's just Gladys the milk lady.
I don't know if that's better though. Like I got contacted by Gladys the milk lady.
It could be jealousy.
I bet it's better than satin.
I don't know. I'm both relieved and a little annoyed, and I wish it smelled better in here.
Yes. It smells like
Sour
milk
cream
and
milk.
sadness and shame.
Oh well,
Where did that rope come from?
I don't know. I mean, there is. We did tie up some trees outside that we planted, but it's bizarre that it's in here. All I have to say is thank you for going through that with me because I both feel a lot better and slightly ashamed.
Yeah.
So-
just like how you would after you bathed in Gladys's milk.
or that you click on the link.
Yep.
So, True Wagner strikes again. Check out their Instagram site. And so here's what we want to do now that I feel like we have some closure with our Ouija board experiences. We would like to hear your Ouija board experiences or paranormal experiences by hitting us up on Twitter with the hashtag SuperCreepyFun. We'd love to hear your experiences like we shared our real ones before Gladys came in and wrecked the party for
Right,
us.
before Gladys came and spoiled.
Also, be sure to
everything.
rate and review the iWouija app in iTunes.
On the iTunes and the not the Android store.
If you happen to be on the App Store looking for iWouija, please do go and rate and review us as well. Super Creepy Funtime Hour. Of course, it's on Apple Podcast. It's on Spotify, Anchor, anywhere you can find your podcast. And at Super Creepy Funtime Hour is our Twitter, at Downright Creepy. What are you at?
I am an EL_Genius at Genius with a J on Twitter, Genius McGee on Facebook, Instagram, Tinder, Bumble, Grindr, all the fucking apps out there.
And I am at Casey Canton on all those things that he also mentioned. So yeah, hit us up on there. Tell us your stories. Just say hi or rate and review us. And then also, for those of you that don't know, and I'm sure you do, if you're listening to this, Nightmare Junkhead, please check that out with Greg as well. Do you have anything else going on?
Besides our Friday Night Frights at Screenline Armor and the things that are coming up at Trick or Treats, no.
Yeah, so let's talk about Trick or Treats real quick.
I'm fucking excited for this, man.
It's our Panic Fest Halloween celebration that Adam Roberts at Screenland and I were co-founders of Panic Fest. If you didn't know, decided, hey, let's do something for Halloween this year. It's not entirely safe to go out and do a lot of gathering for Halloween parties.
Yeah.
But let's get together online and have a virtual party. So we're going to have 3 days of live events and films that you'll be able to check out on the Inventive platform that you buy your tickets at panicfilmfest.com/tricks. You can get your tickets there, and it's good for everything. All events, all films, and we got the full lineup coming soon. We do have these shorts that have been announced. We have 24 new shorts.
That's dope, dude.
A couple of them from previous Panic Fest that resubmitted, and we're like, your Panic alum, we'll add you to this list. And we got some other things brewing too, so we'll talk about some features, but more importantly, some of the live events that you will also be taking part of.
Yeah.
We have House of the Devil, and with a post discussion about that with Nightmare Junkhead. That'll be a lot of fun. You just did your Nerdoween, and it was satanic devils.
movies. We showed The Car, Evil Speak, and Ready or Not.
Yeah, so it's like a perfect kind of callback with House of the Devil and cults. So you'll be doing that, and then also taking part, I think, we'll know for sure after today, Gorgar's Presidential Horror Debates, which is brought to you by Shock the Vote in Austin, Texas, a nonpartisan company that's trying to get the vote out this November. So check them out as well, and that'll be a ton of fun. If you know Chris McElvoy, who's done We Summon a Demon, he's had a piece in the Anthology Scare package. He's done death metal. He's screened at Panic Fest before. He was the director that did the PSA for the short, and it's got a really gnarly monster in it called Gorgar, who is the president. I highly suggest looking for that, but they'll be a part of it as well. So yeah, check out all that stuff, panicfilmfest.com/tricks, and look to our social channels at Panic Film Fest for more details about that coming up soon.
And really, with Panic Fest, with anything Panic Fest, you cannot go wrong.
And this is really a dry run for January when we normally have Panic Fest, because more than likely, let's be realistic, it's going to be virtual.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna try some things out with this and have some fun with it, and then apply what we learn for that Panic Fest. But also $30 for tickets gets you everything. That's pretty cheap.
It's a whole fucking weekend.
Yeah, it's of every event that we have. I also want to mention one thing that won't be on our schedule, but is part of the programming is the Cult podcast and the Horror Virgin podcast are doing a crossover event.
Oh, neat.
And you'll be able to buy tickets for their event separately, and they'll be donating some money back to Screenland to help save our cinemas.
Very cool.
So it's very cool. So go check out the Cult podcast and Horror Virgin event as well. We'll be promoting it. It just won't be in our list of events. It's kind of a tangent thing that they're doing to help us out. And anything that you purchase for Screenland is just going to help them survive, which in turn helps Panic Fest survive.
Absolutely.
So check them out. So that's all we got. I know we had a little more plugs there at the end than we normally do, but I think it's well worth it, and everyone is probably interested in it anyway, because it's our favorite time of the year.
Oh yeah,
so,
it's a wonderful time of
thank
year.
you stuck around for us. But so yeah, check us out. Hit us up on Twitter. You got anything else? Till next time, should we have Killbot take us out of here?
Yeah, let's take us away, Killbot.
All right, we'll see you next time. You're listening to a Downright Creepy original on the Crickets Podcast Network.